Welcome back, everyone, to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. As always, he's Yinka Yusuf.
Good evening, people.
And I'm Akin Adeke. Yinka Yusuf, how's it going?
Yes, boss. I am doing fine. How about you?
I'm doing great. Another back-to-back great weeks for me, personally, because, just personally, just doing good. Let me pop my collar a little bit. No collar, but
Yeah,
We'll
I
get to it.
think that's well. I think that's well deserved. Actually, it's well deserved, and that will
Yes.
take a significant portion of our show today. We really need
so
to
generous.
dissect. We need to dissect. We need to dissect what happened over the two legs in the Champions League, and also look into the future of what's going to happen in the semis. Yeah. And
Okay.
I'm not looking beyond the semis, unlike somebody else here who is already who already thinks the arteta hands are on the trophy. Come on, man.
I'm not saying all that, but
Come on, man. That's what
I'm
you were
just
saying
saying-
just before we
I'm
press record. That was the
saying-
last thing
I'm
that came out of
saying-
your mouth.
I'm saying who's gonna stop us. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Your mouth is going to stop you, and all you us Arsenal fans out there that believe this is you know what? We're jumping the gun. Let's follow the thought process and let's get the show running.
But Yinka, speaking of, okay, so I am gonna jump the gun, but first let's tell our viewers today is Sunday, the 20th of April, 2025. It's Easter Sunday. For those who celebrate, happy Easter to everyone. Hope you have a great weekend with friends and family and all that. We don't get Easter off in the US. We don't get either Friday or Monday off.
I thought the week was you and I.
No. We in the US. In the US, you have to take the day off.
See, Akin, you can't have it all. Right?
No.
There's one thing Nigeria has. It's public holidays. We don't joke with our public holidays. We don't. Right? For the few years where I was out of the country, that's one thing I missed about Nigeria. Right? People will be holidaying in Nigeria. I'll be at work. And I'm like, what kind of life is this?
Yeah,
what kind of life is this? We don't mess with our public holidays. We have like 13, 14, 15 of them all together. We don't mess with it.
What's crazy to me is I left Nigeria in 1998, and there's been more public holidays added since I left. Which is it's just amazing. It doesn't happen in other countries. Like you don't get new ones.
It doesn't. I mean, we added Democracy Day, then we added Lagos State added June 12 or so.
June 12th.
We just keep piling it up. When I was younger, the birthday of the Prophet from an Islamic standpoint,
it was not a holiday. It was not a holiday.
It was a public holiday for it. It wasn't a holiday. All of a sudden, we're like, well, since our Christian brothers they're celebrating the birth of Christ, our Muslim brothers too need to celebrate the birth of the Prophet. Take 2 days. I'm like, thank you. I'll take it.
I love it. I'll
take it. Love it. Anyway.
All right. So, Yinka, if you don't mind, I want to depart from the agenda for 2 seconds. And I want to talk about Aston Villa. I know we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about them with when we talk about the EPL. But I think they were the most impressive team I saw this weekend. And you would say give them their flowers or whatever, even though I hate that term. But I was so impressed with how they came out against Newcastle. One, let me set the stage. Newcastle are the form team of the EPL right now, right? I think that's fair to say. They're beating people. They're winning. Yeah, they're winning cups, whatever. Aston Villa had a major disappointment, Yinka, on Tuesday, right? They almost knocked out almost knocked out PSG, right?
PSG.
And they were just crushed. They were one goal away, all of that. To come out, yes, they were still home yesterday, to come out and bash Newcastle 4-1 after Newcastle had just done that to Man U a week earlier, I thought was the most impressive thing I saw over this weekend, right? And again, you and I, we've given so much credit to Unai Emery, and I'm like, it's not breaking the bank. He's not buying people for £100 million, but I feel like they're always running. I feel like they're never sloppy, and you can see in their players, these players are not like the most crisp. Like, look, everyone loves Martinez, the goalkeeper. I like him too, right?
Yeah.
But you can tell he missed a few steps when he was developing. There's some basics where it is like the Chelsea goalkeeper that was banished to Saudi. What's his name again? Mendy.
Mendy.
Yes. And what I mean is, when Mendy should have been in an academy, he was bagging groceries in France. And you can tell sometimes when he's playing that it was bagging groceries when he should have been keeping goal. Martinez is like that sometimes, right? So I say all that to say, some of their players, because they can't compete for with even Man U for players. I mean, let's be real, right? So Unai Emery has to do what he's doing with players that maybe not everybody wants, So I just wanted to get that out there. To do that to the form team in England, who are known for bullying people, to pretty much smash them in the mouth. And Ollie Watkins playing with a chip on his shoulder. And the more I look at Ollie Watkins, I'm like, he's going to leave in the summer. And I don't want to hear anyone at the top of the league complaining that they don't have strikers if they don't make a good faith effort to sign this guy. He's ready-made. He doesn't have a nice, foreign sounding name. He's not 8 feet tall. He doesn't have the physique or what, but he does everything you want him to do. With the goal, and he hit the post twice. But with the goal he scored, he matched the record for the most EPL goals ever for Aston Villa. Gabi Agbonlao, 75 goals. Now, this is since the EPL started in 1992. This is not since the beginning of football. 75 goals. Ahead of Dean Dublin, right? Ahead of other more established players who played longer for Villa, And I'm like, why don't you want this guy? You all say you need strikers. You don't want it because it's 28, about to be 29 next season. Okay. But when he's running at defenders, do they think it's 28 or 18? So anyway, this was the most impressive thing I saw this weekend. And I just wanted to get that out before we start talking about the Champions League.
Akin, you know the way we do stuff off the fly, right? And we create segments out of thin air. I like what you just did. And we might actually make it a constant thing. And we have a segment where you tell us about the most, what was the adjective you used? The most
impressive,
exciting, or the most impressive thing you saw during the week. Yeah. Yeah. So you and I can have a go at it, and we'll name, we'll crown someone or a team or a concept or whatever it is, the most impressive thing we saw during the week. But I agree with you, and I'll add to what you've said. Newcastle, before this game, scored 9 goals in 2 games. They beat Crystal Palace 5-0 during the week. Missed that out. That wasn't the United game. Wasn't the last game. They actually beat Crystal Palace 5-0 during the week. So they are coming on 9 goals in 2 games. And frankly, that game, Fabian Schär that scored for Newcastle should have been sent off. There was a clear doxo, way clearer than the Saliba one that wasn't given, right? And the ref gave him a yellow card. It should have been sent off, right? But I agree with you. Emery deserves his flowers. Watkins, you answered the question yourself, why people don't want him is his age. They are not sure whether that's the whether we've seen the best of Watkins yet. I can't pay big bucks for him, and his decline will not start at my club. That's what people are worried about. Is it reasonable? Yes. So anybody that eventually takes the risk, right, will definitely benefit. Even if Watkins drops 10, 20% over the next 2-3 years, that performance, the level of performance you still get from him, is going to be better than a whole lot of strikers that you have. It's going to be better than Neto at Everton. It's going to be better than Broha at Everton. It's going to be better than Mateta. Do you understand what I'm saying? So somebody should put it. It's going to be better than Jackson, even at Chelsea. Dare I say? Yeah. So I agree with you, but you see it eventually. It's either he goes to Saudi or I don't know. I don't think any of the big ones, any of the big guns will come after him.
That would be a waste.
That's the honest truth. And
it would be a waste.
Maybe the only option for him is to resign with Villa. Frankly. But we'll see.
But they keep trying to find a way to replace him and not play him in the big games. First, it was the kid, it was the Colombian kid, and now it's Asensio and Rashford who are loanees. You know, they're not even there permanently. And then you have Madsen and what's the other guy? What's his name again? I always confuse them. The two M's that just came in from Dortmund and somewhere. One is Madsen. What's the other one?
Villa?
Yeah. The attacker one. Marlon. Thank you. I always confuse them with Madsen. Yeah, Marlon. So, but I'm just like, it is reminding me a little bit of Vardy. Not the same. You know, I think his hold-up play is actually better than Vardy's. And then people think hold-up play means you got to be 6'4" and putting your behind on somebody, you know, like Giroud. That's not the only way you do hold up play. You know, hold up play means you have the skill and the vision to receive the ball deep, like he showed with his assist against Newcastle. Received the ball deep, stayed deep, made the run, made a great pass, you know? And I'm like, there's many different ways to do this. And I just think he's such an intelligent player. And I'm shocked that one, he's not starting the most important games for Villa. And two, they let him still be at Villa, which is amazing to me. But okay,
yeah,
Inka, shall we?
Cool. Game debrief UCL. Let's go.
Okay, so let's do it.
Yes, sir.
So let's start with the Tuesday games, right? So on Tuesday there were two games, right? So Bayern went to was Bayern on Tuesday? Yeah. No.
Bayern,
no.
Bayern was on Wednesday.
Bayern was Wednesday. Okay. So it was Villa. PSG went to Birmingham to play Villa, right? And then yes, and then Dortmund.
Dortmund.
Who was playing at home, Yinka?
Dortmund was at home.
Yes. Okay. So, was there anything that surprised you in those two games?
Yes, a couple of things surprised me actually, Aki. So let's start with the Dortmund-Barcelona game. You and I thought it was this was going to be a walk in the park for Barcelona.
Yeah,
we thought it was over. But Aki, at different intervals during that game, it wasn't over. It was far from over, right?
Yeah.
Dortmund showed what's frustrating about the way they play. They are a beautiful offensive side, but that's all they know. It's like they only hear go. They don't know. They can't find that balance between attacking and defending. And the same thing happened. So when they had nothing to lose, they said, you know what? Let's do what we know how to do best. Let's put all our eggs in the attacking basket and see how we can, ruffle a couple of feathers with Barcelona, which they did. Barcelona had to score a scruffy goal to take the life out of Dortmund in that game. Take the life out of Dortmund in that game. And another striker we need to look out for, when Girassi was at Stuttgart with the Burkinabe boy, when he was at Stuttgart, we thought, okay, flash in the pan, Let's give him some time. He hasn't played in the big club. He hasn't played Champions League. Now the young man is in a bigger club. He's played Champions League and he's delivering. We'll talk about the Bundesliga later on. He scored 2 goals today again. Irashi. Yeah. So he has 16 Bundesliga goals. I don't know the number he has in the Champions League. But he was a thorn in the United flesh. In the Barcelona flesh all day. All day. Right? And Barcelona, I know they're good offensively. From midfield upwards, they're solid. They have a solid right back in Kunde, solid left back in Balde. Their centre back pairing is suspect. That Uruguayan boy, Araujo, what was his name? He's not at the level, right?
It shouldn't be at Barcelona.
Ball playing centre back. It shouldn't be at Barcelona. And we said Kiki was a good ball playing centre back, but defensively he wasn't that solid. This guy is not as good from a ball playing perspective as Kiki. We said Puyol was a proper defender that couldn't play. Araujo is not a proper defender that couldn't play. So he's stuck in between. And they gave him the armband for that game. I'm like, this guy's an ordinary player.
Yeah, I agree.
So that surprised me, Akin.
Yeah. So I echo everything you say about Girassi. They started out nervous, timid. His goals gave them confidence. I don't think anyone had him scoring a hat trick in that matchup. No one saw that coming, right? I don't think anyone had him. And I think he had gone 7 matches without scoring before that game, which just goes to show, you prepare all you can for football, but this is actual reality TV. You don't know what's going to happen, So he doesn't score for 7 games and then boom, hat trick, on the biggest stage there is, right? So again, obviously I love to see an African man doing well. So I was really happy to see that. But Barca did what they had to do. So they go into the next round. Let's talk about the other one though, because I thought that was even crazier, right? So PSG were coming one off the back of running nonstop for 180 minutes against Liverpool, right? Getting all the plaudits, people saying maybe they're the favorites to win it all, right? In Paris, 3-1 against, they came back and scored 3 goals, right? Because they conceded first, and then 3-1, they take it to Birmingham, and then boom, they're conceding goals anyhow in Birmingham, right? And Villa almost did it, Yinka. They almost did it. So I know last week we talked about the lineup and all the things that Emery did, maybe right, maybe wrong. Do you think any of this, you think Emery held them back in any way? Could they have, if they had started a little faster, do you think maybe they could have upset PSG?
So this is the problem that most teams have. And I say this often, Aki, finding the balance between your offensive play and your defensive play. We might say Arteta is a rookie coach, blah, 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 blah. In terms of finding that balance, I don't think there's a coach in present day European football that has found that perfect balance. Sometimes his offense, Arteta kind of sacrifices the offensive potential of his team just to make sure that, we are even killed. We are not going to concede ridiculous amount of goals, but we are also, you understand, we need to put the ball and in the back of the net at an okay clip. We don't go, we don't want to play reckless football, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
And in the few instances where Arsenal had to play reckless football, you saw what happened. When they played Newcastle at second leg for the Carabao, it just,
and they were chasing
it didn't work.
Yeah.
They were chasing it. It didn't work. It didn't work. Now, it's the same thing that happened in this game, Aki. The instant PSG scored the second goal, Villa just said, you know what? F it. We just have to go for it, right? And something else changed in them. you could see that they had the impetus changed. They needed. They knew that the only way we could move forward in this tournament is for us to just go all out and attack. And PSG also had not played any team that was playing with that level of reckless abandon, if you get what I'm saying. Villa just turned into monsters all of a sudden. And all the defensive shackles, all the restraints that Emery had on his boys, he was like, you know what, guys, all guns blazing. And they almost made it happen. So which is why we say when Wenger and the rest of the offensive Johan Cruyff, they will tell you offense might be the best form of defense. Because there's only one ball that we're playing. If I'm always attacking you, there's no way you're going to attack me. Yeah?
Very true.
You know, so it was an interesting game. I remember one of our friends on our chat group was like, why are you watching this game? It's over. I was like, are you sure? This was like 5 minutes into the game.
To your credit, you said no. Well, I thought it was over too. I'm not gonna lie. I thought both of them were over. To be honest, yeah, I thought 3 or 4 were over. The only one I thought wasn't over was Inter Bayern. I thought everything was over. To be honest, it's true.
Anyway, so but going to the game, Akin, right? You could see the potential in that Villa squad and the work that Emery is doing with them. Yeah. So once again, give them their flowers. They're out, but I'm sure they will be back next season and they will learn from this. I think they lost the game in the first leg. You have to find that balance. And we'll talk about Arteta and Arsenal. Yeah. But you have to find that balance. That balance is key. It's that balance that made Arteta beat Real Madrid. Yeah. It's as simple as that. You know,
you're right.
You don't go to a game. Don't go to a game with a full defensive mindset, right? And just think you can just switch. Like, it doesn't work. You need to find that, you know. Anyway.
So one thing, my last thing on PSG Villa. So when I think about it, like honestly, like I'm like before when the ties were announced, right? I kept saying I would rather play PSG than play Villa. People thought I was crazy.
No, same here. I agree.
Yeah, it's because of Unai. You know, not that we haven't beaten Unai before, but I think Arteta overthinks when it comes to Unai. And it's just human nature. It's just human nature. I think they have more ways to cause you problems than PSG does. PSG has much better players, much more explosive players, right? Attacking philosophy, going all out, all of that. But they can only really hurt you one way, you know? But I think Villa have more ways that it can cause you problems. So I for one, I'm glad that Arsenal doesn't have to face them. But Yinka, let's move on to day 2 of the UCL quarterfinals, where we had 2 matches. We had Arsenal going to the Bernabeu to face Real Madrid, and then we had Bayern Munich going to the San Siro to face Inter Milan. Let's talk about Bayern versus Inter first. Did they lose it in the first leg at home? Because I would say yes. And Bayern, I mean, did Bayern lose it in the first leg at home? Yeah.
I would agree with you. Yeah.
Okay.
The way they approached that game, it was as if Company did not do any research on the team that he was facing.
Ouch.
He approached it the way Wenger would, which is, as long as I play well, I don't care who's on the other side. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a bit reckless. And maybe whatever comes his way, Akin, I know he's your guy, but at this point, I think
it's our guy. Don't do that. It's our guy.
Okay, apologies. It's our guy. But I think he's gone after this season. Yeah. Now
I think it
I'm looking.
stays. But go on. Go on.
So I'm looking at the lineup, the first game.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
know what's his name? Noah is
Musiala was
injured,
injured.
so I don't blame him for the
Yeah.
goalkeeper. Yeah.
Okay.
But his back four was Dyer, Kim, Stanishik, and Lehman.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So quite a number of people were injured. I get that. Musiala was injured. Upamecano was injured.
Yeah.
I get all of that. But if you're starting Kim and Dyer, you and I know my problems with Dyer. Well, not really my problems, but we all know his limitation. He's a good ball playing player. He's ball playing defender. He's not really a proper defender, right? You now started in midfield. You started Kimmich and Goretzka and Guerrero in midfield. Yeah, that lineup is a bit suspect to me, right?
Yeah.
So you thought at home, I would have started Palina, for example. Yeah.
Okay.
Palina
to
break up play.
Yeah, it deserves it.
Yeah, Palina to play, it deserves it. Yeah. And you then played Olise on the right, and you played Kane. Yeah. And down the middle. So in that particular game at home, yeah, I get that his defenders were not there, no, but you know the way Inter play. You know that Inter focuses on those two people that they have up front. You try as much as possible to shield your back line from that, yeah? And if you then look at the two games, Aki, in the return leg, right, almost the same lineup. Let me get that out. In the return leg, almost the same lineup. In fact, yeah, I remember it was the same. It was the only difference was he brought in Müller instead of Guerrero. Yeah. But the style of play was different because now they realize, you know what? We can nick a one goal and we can get through to the next round, or nick a goal and get through to push the game into injury time. Yeah. And when they scored, this is where my biggest problem lies. When they scored, yeah, a bit of more experience was needed in terms of, okay, now we need to manage this game. I didn't see that happen. Yeah, I didn't see that happen. They were still playing like it was normal. They were just playing their style of game. Normal, we play the way Bayern plays. I'm like, you're playing a team that they hound people all over the pitch, you know? So why don't you challenge them? Why don't you challenge Inter to come out, right? Then you can use that as a basis to counter attack and then get your goals. You have pace in your front line anyway. Sane is fast. Olise is fast. But Bayern just played both games like they were playing normally. Yeah. But you know the way Inter are. Inter, they're not the most. They're not the fanciest side to watch play football, right? But they know what they're doing. They just want to get the balls to those two people up front. If it is either Martinez, if it is what's his name, Thuram, or if it is Arnautovic that's playing, they know how. Just get the ball to these guys, yeah. And after Inter scored 2 quick goals, after Bayern scored, they scored 2 quick goals. Bayern just kind of lost, and I get it. They lost shape a bit. They wanted to score. Yeah. I get it. Yeah, but it was unfortunate they could not. They had to score, but it was unfortunate they couldn't. They couldn't make it. And I fear for company, frankly. Akin.
So I do not fear for company. I know what you're saying, but they're gonna win the Bundesliga. It's gonna be relatively comfortable. They're going out at the same stage again. Last year they went to the semifinals of the Champions League. This year the quarterfinals, but it is what it is. There was one goal in it, right? It happens. There was one goal in it. One Harry Kane goal away from being in the semifinals again, right? They're still in the DFB Pokal, which is like the FA Cup. So I think he'll be fine, and they haven't spent big money in a while. They'll spend big money, they have money. So, I don't think Wirtz will go there. Everyone is saying Wirtz is going to Man City, blah, 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 or to Real Madrid. But they can just come in and just get him Like they always buy everyone leaving Germany. They'll just be like, we want Wirtz. He's gonna go play with Musiala, and he might think the best way for him to be a German international is to be a German international who plays for Bayern Munich. They just have so many structural things going for them because Dortmund are not a serious competitor. Bayern Leverkusen did not buy anybody. The Bayern Leverkusen is, they're moving like a feeder club. And they want to keep punching above their weights. And that's not how this thing works. So no one in Germany has taken advantage of Bayern's, let's say, stuttering for the last 2 seasons, and Bayern haven't even had to spend money to compete. Have they bought anyone real after Harry Kane? I don't think so. Right? After Harry Kane? I don't think so, right? They haven't really bought anybody. So I don't know. But anyway, good luck to our guy.
But I can before we move on, right?
Yeah.
The problem with Bayern is not their attack, right? The problem with Bayern is their defense and their midfield. So which is why they bought Palinha from Fulham, right? That's why they got Palinha. And who defender did they buy again? I think they bought Kim from Napoli, right? But those two signings are underwhelming, Aki. For a team of Bayern's quality, you need to get better players in those departments. You've messed around with Goretzka enough to realize that Goretzka is not your answer for your center midfield. You cannot be pushing Kimmich to right back today, defensive midfield tomorrow.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So pushing Kimmich right back, left lanes, DM is not going to work. They've not recruited properly over the past 2 seasons, and that is beginning to show, Now, before we move on, talking about Kompany again, Kompany, the only reason, I hear what you're saying in terms of, they will win the Bundesliga, then the DFB Pokal.
Yeah.
Well, you and I talked about this before. That's not what they are interested in. That is base level. That is ground zero, right? And for a man with the pigmentation, with color of his skin, you get what I'm trying to say? Right. You need to do ×2 what your other colleagues should do. ×2 in this case is you should be winning the Champions League. Yeah? And I know that it was their 8th option before they picked him.
Yeah.
So I think it's a stopgap. It's a stopgap coaching hire. And they're gonna go get someone else after the season is over. I will be happy if they don't.
Yeah.
But I'll be happy if they don't, but I'll be shocked if they don't also.
Okay. All right. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes.
To wrap this up, Harry Kane will finally win something.
I know.
Finally.
I know. This season. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Finally.
What a mess.
Anyway.
What a mess. All right, guys. So, the granddaddy of them all. Arsenal at the Bernabeu. So let's set this up. Last week, Arsenal 3, Real Madrid 0. Real went on this campaign, the remontada. What did you say, Yinka? You said remontada became remonada. That's what you call it. That's what you said.
Yes.
It didn't happen.
Yes.
Yeah. They made a big deal about closing the roof of the Bernabeu, so the noise could reverberate and all that. They were just talking. They did a lot of talking. But then, you know what I thought about? It's amazing. Marketing is an amazing thing, because everyone was convinced that Real Madrid come back in ties all the time. The reality is they come back in games. They don't come back in actual ties. You know what I mean? The last time they were down 3-0 or by 3 goals and came back in the second round was in 1950 something. Right? So because 4 or 5 times they've come back 2-3 goals down in a game, people think it's the same thing. And it was amazing what they did. A lot of these games, they were down 2-3 goals with 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 7 minutes to go, and they came back. But it's not the same. And you didn't have across the pitch from them a team that doesn't concede goals. You know what I mean? They didn't have that. So, but I don't believe, I think it was all marketing. I don't think the players actually believed what the club was saying. I don't think the players believed what they were saying. I know for a fact that Ancelotti did not believe any of it. He knew he didn't have the horses. He knew he didn't have the horses, Yinka. He knew it, But let me say something real quick, and I'm kind because I took a lot of time last week, so I'm gonna calm myself this week because this was supposed to happen, right? This was supposed to happen. Y'all just don't listen to me, but this was supposed to happen. But there was something, I was thinking about. I'm like, Arteta looked like the veteran coach, and Ancelotti looked like the rookie. On the sideline, the moves they were making. My guy Rodrigo, honestly, I didn't see him. I don't know what he did. I didn't see him. Bellingham spent more time being belligerent, kicking people, wrestling people to the ground. Rudiger, just awful, and Rudiger is the reason that Partey got a yellow card. Rudiger wrestled Partey to the ground early in the game, and then Partey kind of sort of retaliated later in the game and got a yellow card. Dumb. So now he's gonna miss the first leg of the PSG tie. But honestly, I'm not even sure what to talk about in this game. Like for me, it was never in doubt. So over the course of 2 legs, Yinka, the only goal Real Madrid scored was one gifted to them by a combination. This is kudos to you because I didn't see the Raya throw. That he wasn't under pressure. Why did he throw it? Of a Raya invitation and Saliba, dawdling on the ball. That was the only way they scored, which is crazy to me. 5-1, Yinka. 5-1. 2 things, Yinka. In the first leg, I believe Real Madrid ran 13 miles less. No, 13 kilometers less than Arsenal did. In the second leg, they closed that to just 9 kilometers less. And then this one killed me. Henry was talking about this. Yeah, did you see the one Henry was talking about before the game? That in the top 5 strikers or maybe players that have run the least in the Champions League, 3 of them are Real Madrid players. Real Madrid attackers. Vinicius Jr., Mbappe. I think they were like number 2, 4, and 5 or something like that. And then a third person, I forget who it is. And that just tells me who is hustling. Because a lot of these runs is you shuffling, moving your feet on defense. It's not just you with the ball. A lot of it is off the ball work, and I said that those were the 2 last things, but you said something while we were watching the game. You said Declan Rice looked like prime Yaya Toure. Yep. And I'm like, you're so right, because he looked so incredibly athletic, more athletic than Yaya Toure. He looked. The way he was running was ridiculous. It looks indestructible. I don't want to tempt fate and say he can't get injured, but he looks indestructible. He covered every blade of grass. They couldn't bring him down. They couldn't do anything to him. He was the man of the match, both games, in my opinion. And he just looked, Bellingham looked like a child next to him, Yinka. But give us your thoughts, sir.
Okay, so you did a lot of the talking last week, and I told you I was going to chill until the tie was over, right? Then I can do my talking.
Okay, go for it.
So brace yourself. How long do I have? I have a lot to get off my plate.
Okay, let me drink my water. Go for it. Go for it.
Drink more water. So number 1, See this whole remontada, whatever, all this noise, all they will close the lead, all the 90 minutes is too much, is nothing, is a long time at the Bernabeu. Maybe they deserve this level of arrogance, but it irks me. It annoys me. Yeah? Like we say in our side, yeah, I get them before no be property. Yeah?
No be property.
That no be property at all. I don't know where the arrogance is, where that arrogance is coming from. Especially when you were thoroughly beaten at the Emirates. Yeah? But all of a sudden, I just saw this. At a point, I was like, I want Arsenal to win this game. Not even lose, not even draw. I want Arsenal to win this game so that these guys will realize, yes, you might have won multiple trophies in the past. It is not your birthright. Yeah? Your team is actually crap right now. Crap. Yeah? And the way you're talking, you can't put your money where your mouth is when it's time for us to play football. And as that's not in lined up, I was looking at our players. I'm like, boys, I'm sure you heard everything that they're saying. I need you to play that way. That was what was in my head, because that arrogance was irritating. Now, when they now got onto the field of play, because things were not panning out, they started misbehaving, Akin.
They did.
Bellingham, what's his name? Rudiger. Who else? Alaba, even Mbappe. That dive was disgraceful.
Yeah,
they started misbehaving. They were behaving like they were throwing tantrums at the Bernabeu. That's the way they were playing. Akin, Real Madrid could not penetrate Arsenal. They were crossing the ball to who? Who is the aerial threat that you have that was going to knock the ball into the net? I can't remember Raya making a save in that game. I can't.
He didn't have to.
So for all the noise that they were making, you said you don't think the players, I think the players too believed in it. They thought that noise will lessen the quality of Arsenal. Arsenal will be scared so that when they came, they will be easy for slaughter. That's what everybody thought. But with the first 5 minutes, first 10 minutes, they realized, oh boy, these boys are not here to play. For me, that's what happened. And that petulance from Mbappe, from what's his name? From Bellingham, who I thought was a matured player. I saw a different side to the Madrid as a team, Madrid's players, and Madrid as a club. All those will close the lead, will make the atmosphere. What are you doing? What nonsense! Irritating. Number 2. Akin, number 3, please. When did Panenka become an insult in football?
Ooh. Okay, say more.
Please. Okay, Akin, we've seen people play Panenkas multiple times. Have you ever seen a situation where the team that considered the Panenka go to the player and start harassing the player that why?
No.
Why
I see what you mean.
You're insulting our player.
Do
you know that's what do you know that was what Madrid players were doing? Because Saka missed the Panenka, they were like, why did you try the Panenka? That's an insult. I'm like, sorry, this same football that we have been playing, this same Panenka that people have been playing forever, when did this become an insult?
Wow.
When? Do you know that when Saka left the pitch, what's his name? Their right back that's injured. They're kind of
Carvajal. Yeah.
Carvajal approached him and was harassing him for playing the penalty that way. And I'm like, dude, the fact that he missed it is already enough, punishment for what he did. What are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, so this is how these guys will behave when things don't go their way. Now I see the nonsense that they did with Vinny. That means it's only a club that is out of touch with reality, that believes that that believes that we supersede everybody, that condescends to everybody else that will behave that way. It's the same way they did when Vinny lost. That was the way they behaved in this match. They're like, who are you people to beat us 3-0 and come to our house and be doing this nonsense? That's I'm sorry, that's what I saw. I might be wrong, I'm Real Madrid
fans. Not wrong.
I know you guys, they will come after me and say I've started again, that what have Arsenal won and stuff like that. I don't care at this point. Yeah. I didn't say anything after the first leg. I was like, tie is not over. I was respectful. And even if that game had ended and there was no scuffle, it was a clean game, blah, blah. I won't say what I'm saying right now. But the petulance, the arrogance and everything from the game, right, to the pitch and after the match is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And my respect for Madrid, forget the number of trophies that you won. My respect for them has gone this way. Their culture is toxic. I will say it.
It is toxic. It is toxic.
That's why Vinny didn't win and everybody didn't go because he didn't win. The same Vinny that disappeared in this game.
In both games.
Yeah. So, point 3. I have plenty more to say.
Oh, go for it.
In both games. Now, going back to style of play, Akin. Going back to style of play, right? I thought Ancelotti was going to do something different. And the only thing he did was he removed Modric and he played, what's his name?
Valverde.
The Uruguayan boy that we all love. What's his name again?
Fede Valverde.
Valverde. He played Valverde, right?
Yeah.
And Tchouaméni came in, obviously, for Camavinga that was injured. And that was it. In terms of style of play, in terms of doing something different, I did not see anything. Nothing. It was like the style of play they had in mind was first minute kick Saka. That's why Alaba got a yellow card almost immediately. Just
in the 4th minute.
Make them fear. Yeah, let them put fear in them. Let them be scared. That's the whole thing that they were thinking of. And they were they were looking at it's the Arsenal of the old, that when the stage is big, when there's the biggest stage, that's when they mess up. That's what they thought. But they don't know that this Arsenal is a different team. You need to come and play on the pitch. The people that beat Arsenal this season beat them on the pitch. All those old school of kick them, bully them, they will falter, they will weaken, all those days are gone. They're gone.
Yeah, I would agree.
And for Ancelotti, as experienced as he is, if that is what he then resulted to, that is the only tactics that he could come up with, Akin. It's a shame on Real Madrid. It's a shame. Number 4.
Wow.
You've already talked about. No. I came prepared. You already talked about Declan Rice and what I said and how he played. Akin, that is arguably the best midfield performance over 2 legs in the Champions League this season. Before, that title was to Vitinha and what's his name? And João Neves. Yeah? But what Declan did...
Vitinha and who was it?
Both games, Akin. Unbelievable. He has more than repaid the £100 million that Arsenal paid for him. Right? As I was watching that game, the only comp that came to my mind was this guy is a white Yaya Toure. That's the only thing that came to my mind. I was like, this dude is white Yaya Toure. The way he was running around the field, with his long legs, chasing people all over the place. Now, I don't even know his best position anymore. I think Arteta not playing him at the 6, that might actually be the better thing to do at this point. I'm telling you, I don't know how else to put it, but that tells you the quality of a player. If you know a player that can play the 6 and play the 8 at that level, it's very rare. And thumbs up to him. He was spectacular. Number 5, Miles Lewis Skelly.
Yep.
Somebody needs to go and check that young man's birth certificate. I think we should stop calling him 18-year-old. At the beginning of this season, everybody thought Ethan Nwaneri was the star boy. We had 2 star boys and we didn't know. This young man might actually be ahead of Ethan in terms of footballing curve.
Yeah.
This boy is grown. You can't have an 18-year-old play at the Bernabeu against 3 individual speedsters, skillful players that can mess you up, and he held his own. Rodrigo, who you and I love, was a bloody passenger, King. Bloody passenger. Bloody passenger. So this now makes me think, and these are some of the negatives I have against Arteta.
Okay.
If you had this boy, if you had him in the academy, and you really knew or you know what he could do, why did you go ahead to buy all the left eights that you've been messing around with all these years? Because ultimately, that young man's position is not left back; it's left eight.
No, yeah, I agree.
You had your answer in the academy, but I get he's an 18-year-old. Don't let's put responsibility on 18-year-olds. I get all of that. But PSG is not looking at Emery that is a teenager. They played him massive minutes this season, and he delivered. Yeah. Right? I don't care about age. Once you're good enough to play, you're good enough to play.
You're old enough, yeah.
That young boy once you're old enough to play, you're good enough to play. Sorry. Yeah. That young boy is special. Special. My last point before I move on.
Okay.
I have to talk about. Hold on. I have to talk about Saka, Bukayo Saka. Akin. Yeah, the Panenka didn't go in, and it was because he didn't place it properly. Everybody shouting, "Why would you do a Panenka at the Bernabeu?" Blah, 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 blah.
I love it.
He scored plenty Panenkas before in the past. The fact that he had the confidence to even execute that, in my own opinion, I love it. Yeah? I don't have a problem with that. If he had smashed it, he could have smashed it wide. So the fact that he played the Panenka did not contribute to him missing it. Let's stop that nonsense. But for somebody to have that confidence to do that, and then go ahead and say, okay, I might not be able to chip Courtois from the spot, but I can still chip you in real play. And he still chipped Courtois in real play, and he shushed the whole Madrid, right? Thumbs up, kudos to that young man. He put his money where his mouth is, which is something I cannot say for Real Madrid as a team, for Ancelotti as a coach, and for Real Madrid as a club. We've not done Donkey of the Week in a while, but whole Real Madrid hierarchy, we've been fasting. Donkey of the Week. We've been fasting. The whole Real Madrid hierarchy, you're my donkey of the week.
My God!
People get this. This is not me. This is not me saying this as an Arsenal fan. This is not me being arrogant to anybody or anything. This is not me saying, like we say in Yoruba, that's not what I'm doing here. I'm just analyzing what I saw, right? If Real Madrid had played that game without these antics, I won't be saying what I'm saying. Nobody else did this. Did Villa do this? No, they did not. Did Dortmund do this? No, they did not. They tried to win the game on the pitch.
Amazing.
Okay, that's my last point.
Okay.
How long did I take?
That was I don't know, but that was amazing. But, okay, so can I respond very quickly? So I don't want us to be accused of only talking about Arsenal, even though we've kind of earned it. But let's keep going. So a couple things. I think Carlo Ancelotti is too classy for Real Madrid. They will fire him, and it may even be deserved, right? But he's a classy guy. He never badmouthed, Arsenal or whatever, But it is what it is. But it was nice. It was gracious. I can't say the same for his entire team. I'm glad that you brought up Saka because they brought in still not a proper right back, but a 33-year-old kind of right back in Lucas Vasquez, right? But it's 33, right? And then at left back, they kept Alaba, right? It was still trying to keep up with Saka, a left back.
Mm-hmm.
The yellow card came in the 4th minute. And you're right. It was an instruction, like go out there and let him feel your presence or whatever. And you didn't mention the ref.
Kick him.
The ref stood his ground. The ref stood his ground. How many times have you seen a ref book somebody, not a red card, but like a yellow card that you could have let slide in the 4th minute? He didn't do that. The only thing that bothered me was he didn't do it for Rudiger. He didn't do it for Bellingham. And they deserved it many, many, many times before
Rudiger
they got
should have been sent off.
It should have been sent off. It should have been sent off.
Rudiger stamped his son. Is somebody that is old enough to be his father, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
MLS in the tummy.
Yeah, he did. It did. While the guy was on the ground. While he was on the ground.
While he was on the
ground.
Very
disgraceful. Disgraceful. And then with Bellingham, I don't blame the ref as much as I blame the linesman, because it happened right in front of the linesman. The play was over. It was a throw-in, and Bellingham wrestled. I forget who he was. It may have been MLS as well. No, it was the right back, Timber. He wrestled Timber to the ground when the ball had gone out for throwing, and the linesman should have raised this flag. One thing. So the one thing I'm gonna point out was, so they said they closed the roof. They said it was gonna be loud, right? They talked about the remontada, but it made a strategic error, Yinka, or maybe a tactical error in the way they delivered it. After all that, you saw the noise. You heard the noise at the Emirates the week before, so you can only imagine what it was like. But then they did that remembrance. Their two legends that passed. Do you notice? They did the remembrance, and it wasn't just moment of silence. It was a moment of silence with very sad music playing. I've never seen it done that way before. Maybe that's the Spanish way. In England, they don't play music. They just do the moment of silence, and they don't do a full minute of silence. It's literally a moment. It's like a couple seconds, and then you're good. This one was a full minute. So you rile everybody up for maybe an hour leading up to the kickoff, and then you bring it all down and you play like funeral music for like a full minute, and then Arsenal come in and they're like, oh, okay, we can hear each other now. It's not loud anymore. We're good. You know what I mean? And they could never bring the decibel level back up again. I thought that was fascinating. Like who made those choices? Like, you talk about noise all week, and then you bring down,
and then you start like nah, it's crazy.
Okay, so let's do a few questions. Can we say we've answered this first question? What was the main reason why Arsenal won over 2 legs? Can we just say that we've answered the question?
I think we've answered all the questions, right?
All the questions. Okay.
I think I think what we should do is start looking forward to the semifinals.
The semifinal. Okay. So, Yinka, on the 29th of April, I'm gonna be in a board meeting in Boston. So I'm gonna miss the first leg of our semifinal. So it's gonna be at the Emirates again. So some people are saying, Yinka, that the higher seed should always play their home game in the second leg, and they should change that next season. Because I think Arsenal were 3rd and PSG were 15th or something like that. And for the second round in a row, Arsenal are going to be on the road in the second leg, which is kind of interesting as the higher seed. So let's call it PSG versus Arsenal, Inter versus Barcelona. What do you think is going to happen?
Yes. Okay, so Arsenal PSG is going to be a proper game of football. I don't expect any antics. It's just going to be who can out-tactic the other from the coaching perspective and on the day who can out-deliver the other from the team's perspective. Arsenal beat PSG already this season, but mind 2-0. You, that game, Dembele did not play, and Kvaratskhelia was not at PSG then. Okay? No. Those two boys, on their own right, on their good day, they are match winners. Yeah? So, and I think the home advantage thing is not really going to matter here, because these two teams, they play proper football. They don't. I'm serious. I don't think the home advantage will. This is a game that PSG can beat Arsenal at Emirates, and Arsenal can beat PSG at Parc des Princes. That's the way I think. That's the way I see this. Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So once again, I want Arsenal to win, and I think Arsenal will win. I think Arsenal will beat PSG over 2 legs. And the reason why I'm saying this is Arsenal defensively, in big games this season, they've been spectacular. I'm serious. They have been spectacular. The only slight negative is Partey will not be playing that first leg. And I think Partey is critical to that defensive stability, and the engine that Declan Rice has on him is better in being able to support the attack and support the defense at the same time. If you ask him to play the 6, we're losing that offensive ability that he has to some extent. I know Merino will play in midfield.
The left side.
So the way the lineup at Ipswich today is going to be the lineup against PSG, except for the fullbacks. That's what I think is going to happen. So Timber will come back. Lewis Kelly will play left back. The forward line will be the same. And that, I don't know how I feel about Trossard. Trossard is a hot and cold kind of guy. On his good day, like today, is a game winner. On his bad days, you take him off at halftime. He's that bad. He has great games and horrible games. He doesn't have average games. That's what I've noticed about the young man. But I think Arsenal have enough, right, to beat PSG. That PSG midfield, who I love those two boys. That midfield will not find it as easy as they did with Liverpool and Villa against Arsenal midfield. Yeah, I don't think so. And any day, as long as Saka is playing, Saka versus Nuno Mendes, we saw it at the Emirates, the 2-0 at Emirates. Saka took his soul, more or less. Yeah. And Nuno Mendes, although he's an attacking left back, he likes bumping forward. He couldn't go anywhere because Saka was worried about Saka, and it's a reasonable thing to do. Yeah, so I think Arsenal take it. That's my take on Arsenal PSG.
Okay, so just real quick, Arsenal will win. The only way Arsenal loses is if they play Jorginho in the first leg. Please do not play this guy. It should
Jorginho
not
is
be
injured.
Anywhere.
He's injured. He's injured. He's not playing.
So you know what I would do? I agree with you on Trossard. I actually think it's a question of how good the opponent is. It's really good against weaker opposition. So he's like your perfect bench player. You start him when you're playing Ipswich, you bring him off the bench at the Bernabeu to run at them for the last 15 minutes. Is the perfect bench player. He shouldn't be starting games. He doesn't solve enough problems when he's starting, in my opinion. Right? So for me,
I agree.
Yinka,
I totally agree.
So I wasn't a fan of Zinchenko.
Yes.
But I would play Zinchenko at the 6. Don't kill me yet. I will play
at the 6 or at the 8.
No, at the 6. I know why you said at the 8, but I'll play him at the 6. And
it's not gonna work.
Lewis Kelly, hold on. When I know Arteta will never do it. When Lewis Kelly inverts, it will be like a double pivot, and I know that Rice has the ability to cover them anyway. right? So let Rice just do his thing. He'll roam, he'll cover, whatever. Because what you miss is the ball carrying of Partey, right? Offensive. I know you don't like it, and I've actually thought about MLS.
It's not gonna happen, Aki. It's not gonna happen.
I know it's not gonna happen. I know it's not gonna happen. But I've thought about MLS at the 6 as well. By the way, I've thought about MLS at the 6 because I think Tierney can play that left back really well if that's what we're looking for, and play MLS at this. For me, just look, I think we may need to do something creative to score against these guys, because I think you said it. They're gonna score. PSG are gonna score. I don't think they care where they're playing. I think they're going to score. So you need to, but honestly, with the form that Sakai is in right now, with the form that Martinelli is in, I'm feeling pretty good. So, so we're both calling Arsenal win. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. I think so.
Let me just go on record and say the ESPN guys are choosing PSG again. They didn't learn. All of them chose PSG again against Arsenal.
No, so it's not. See, you can choose whoever you want to. What I didn't like against the Arsenal PSG or the Arsenal Madrid was zero chance for Arsenal. Zero chance. No way Arsenal. And I'm like, so I also thought Madrid had enough to trouble Arsenal. But I wasn't at zero. Do you understand? So it's the disrespect that I did not like. Yeah. And like you said, they didn't learn. So this PSG, everybody's lined up. It's not as if they don't learn. I think it's the fact that they just don't like. They don't like your club. Yeah. Right. That's it.
I would agree.
So they're not being objective, more or less.
I would agree.
Yeah.
All right, Yinka. The more difficult one for me, Yinka, is Inter versus Barca. So Yinka, when Atleti and Real were going at it in the previous round, let's call it round of 16, and people were saying, who do you want? I'm like, I don't want Atleti. I wanted Madrid. I wanted Real Madrid. I did not want Atleti, right? Because I know styles make all these games, right? And I'm like, Inter kind of plays like Atleti, not the same, but like in the same general family. So, and I think Barcelona may struggle because of it. So, what are you thinking? Will Barcelona have enough to overcome Inter? Inter know how to play this Champions League. They've been in the final more recently. Barca actually haven't been in the finals in 10 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
Okay, so once again, it's difficult to bet against Inter Milan. It is, yeah, because you're right. They're similar to Atletico, yeah, in the sense that when they play these kind of games, they know what to do, and they have the tools. Unfortunately, I don't know what's going on with them. They actually lost today. Bologna beat them. So SerieA, we'll talk about SerieA shortly afterwards. Yeah. Maybe they're kind of focusing on the Champions League games and all. But you're right, Aki, right? Barca as it is, Barca are solid offensively. Barca won yesterday 4-3. Yeah. Celta Vigo put 3 past Barca. If Inter put 3 past Barca, I can't guarantee that Barca will score 3 against Inter.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Forget it. I cannot guarantee that Barca will score 3 against Inter. So, mind you, I understand Lewandowski is also out for the game, for the tie altogether. I think they said he had an injury or so. So if Lewandowski is out, is it Ferran Torres that's going to come in? He's done a decent job when he came in for Lewandowski in the past. But Aki was playing the minors in the Spanish league. This is Inter with their crazy backline and their 3 at the back and stuff. Yeah. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough for Barca. I think Inter will win this one. Am I crazy thinking that? I think Inter will win this.
Not at all.
But if you ask me to put percentages on it, I would say 60-40, kind of. Yeah. In favor of Inter. But Inter, they're the most annoying team to play right now in European football. Apart from Atleti, I think it's them. They won't let you play, and Lautaro Martinez will just pop up and score one irritating goal, and they'll win. They don't let you play.
Very true.
That's why they are the only ones that Arsenal lost to in the group rounds of the Champions League. That game was annoying to watch. It was they stifled everybody. They themselves didn't play, and they didn't allow Arsenal to play. That's what I don't like about Inter. Yeah. So for the football purist in me, I would love either an Arsenal Barca or PSG Barca final, because that would just be chef's kiss final. But I think Inter they'll mess up our party. I have a funny feeling they'll mess up our party.
Wow.
So I think I think Inter will take it.
Okay. Honestly, I'm like you on this one. I'm like typical you. I don't know where to go on it. Obviously, I love Barcelona. I think I'm gonna go Barcelona. I'm gonna go Barcelona. You go Inter, I go Barcelona. So I think we will have Arsenal Barcelona final, just like 2006. That's what I'm going for. So you will have Arsenal Inter.
Arsenal Inter final.
Okay.
Arsenal Inter final. Anyway, let's move on.
Yinka, I think we've done done enough with the Champions League. It was fun, but we're gonna move ahead. Let's go quickly to the EPL, Yinka. Actually, no. Before we go to the EPL, before we go to the leagues, let's talk about the European champion tournaments in general. You got Arsenal. Yes. You got in the Champions League. You got Spurs and Man U. We're not going to talk about how they got there. Other people can Google it if they want. Don't really care. In the semifinals of the Europa, and then you got Chelsea in the semifinals of the conference. So,
yes,
is this something or nothing? Is it a fluke? Is it well deserved? Does it tell you anything about the relative strength of the EPL?
I think this question, I'll leave it to you people that judge the strength of leagues based on stuff like this. Yeah. I think you've repented now. You're no longer part of those people. You can ask all our friends that think this way. Yeah. It really doesn't matter, frankly. Right? Yeah. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't necessarily say that the EPL is the best league. Yeah. But it just tells, I think what it says is, don't disrespect all the people that call EPL the crap league. Don't disrespect the league. I think that's what it says.
Okay.
I don't think it says, EPL is the best league, because Spurs and Man U are 14th. What's their position? Sorry, I don't want to misinform our people. Let me get the correct position.
Spurs?
After today's debacle by United. So United is 14th, Spurs are 16th. So the EPL EPL has teams 14th and 16th in the semi-finals of an European tournament. Yeah? It says a lot. It says a lot. No other person in that bracket is that low in their respective leagues. Nobody. Yeah? But for me, it just says respect the EPL. It's a tougher league. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the best league. It's difficult to play in. On a good day, anybody can beat anybody. On a good day, anybody can and will beat anybody. And you can't say that for most other leagues. It's not as the risk of a top team losing to a lower team. It was way higher in the EPL than in any other league across Europe. I think that's what it says.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's I'll let that go. That's fair, I guess. Yinka, let's talk about
yes,
the top 5 leagues real quick. Bundesliga just catches up. I'm just gonna let you let you talk about it. In the interest of time.
I'll just run through everything. Yeah. Bayern won, Leverkusen drew. I think it's curtains in the Bundesliga now. I don't think they're going to catch them. I watched the Dortmund game earlier on. I told you Girassi scored. Dortmund are playing well, but I don't think they're going to make. I don't think they will be in the top 4. I think top 4 is going to be Frankfurt, Leverkusen, Bayern, and Leipzig.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So
where are we going to next?
So let's go to the. Oh my God, SerieA. Some drama in the SerieA, but go for it.
Some major drama in the SerieA.
Yeah.
So Bologna played Inter today. Bologna scored a 93rd minute winner. So Bologna are now in the Champions League spots. They've edged Juventus. I think Juventus have a game in hand. But what that means is more crucial to the top of the table. So Inter and Napoli are now on 71 points. Both played 33 games. They are tied on points, but Inter have 13 plus 13 goal difference, which is for me like an extra point. So Inter need to navigate that and the Champions League. So that's also a factor. So let's see which one they'll prioritize. But yeah, Napoli might win this, Ake. Conte might work his magic again. Mad Conte.
And I think because they don't have the Champions League to worry about, I think you may be right. I think you may be right. Yeah, I think you may be right. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, and
crazy.
to do it after banishing Osimhen that would be something. That would be something.
It will be. It will.
Yeah. Be. Okay. Let's go to La Liga. I know you discovered when we started recording, or just before we started recording, that Real had won a narrow 1-0 win. Who were they playing?
They were playing Atletico Bilbao.
Bilbao, yes, yeah.
So Bilbao have their Europa League, so they are playing Man United in Europa League. So Bilbao kind of fielded a weakened team against Madrid. Madrid labored and they scored a 93rd minute winner from Fede Valverde, just to keep hopes alive in La Liga. Barcelona played Celta Vigo yesterday. They were losing 3-1 at a point, and they came back. They equalized 3-3, and they were given a dubious penalty. I don't care what Enru says. That was a dubious penalty. So I've told you this. It's like the refs take turns to support, to give these guys freebies. That's what's going on in La Liga. Yeah. There's no way that's the penalty. And they had to call the guy to the monitor to look at it, and he gave them a penalty and stuff. Last minute penalty for that matter. Rafinha stepped up, buried it. They won 4-3. So they're still 4 points ahead. Atletico faded again. They lost to Las Palmas. So I think it's a 2-horse race. I think Barca is going to win it, but who knows at this point? I think so too, but they might mess up and lose 2 games back to back and give Madrid the opportunity. Anyway, so that's La Liga.
Yeah. All right. So what about the EPL then?
The EPL is almost wrapped. The Liverpool are going to win it. They won again today. Trent Alexander-Arnold scored. Was a difficult game away to Leicester, surprisingly. Leicester, they almost relegated, but they put up a good fight. And Trent scored, and he celebrated by taking off his shirt and all, and shouting as if he's going to be there next season. I'm like, dude, who are you lying to? But Liverpool won, Arsenal won convincingly at Ipswich. Chelsea barely. They were lucky away to Fulham, so they still have their name in the hat for the Champions League stuff. United lost at home. I'm sure at this point, United, their whole season is on that Europa League. Yeah. Their coach said it already. He didn't even start Bruno Fernandes today. He was on the bench. He came off from the bench. So I guess he's just saying, let's try and win that so we can get into the Champions League through that route. You've already talked about Villa. Impressive win for Villa. So the top 4 is the fight for top 4 is the main thing right now. In the EPL. Fight for top 5, because I understand it's 5 slots now for the Champions League.
Thanks to Arsenal,
Nottingham
by
Forest.
the way. Thanks to Arsenal, Yinka. That's how. But go on.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest are now 6th, surprisingly, but they have a game in hand. If they win that game, they should go back to 3rd. That shows you how tight it is. And Villa. So it's from 3 to 7 are contending for 3 spots. Let me just put it that way.
Amazing. Okay.
Amazing.
Wow. Okay. Inka, shall we go?
Yes, sir.
Real quick to our worthy mentions before we wrap. So
yes,
we had a WNBA draft.
Yes, we did.
Our PSP favorite, Okikiola Iriafen, was drafted number 4 overall by the Washington Mystics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someone you know and like lives in the Washington area. So I'm already thinking of getting season tickets. So if you feel so inclined and you want to donate to my season ticket funds, let me know. I'll be very happy to take your money.
I'm not donating to your season ticket funds. You still owe me a jersey.
I'll get you. Don't worry. I'll get you the jersey.
A Philly Eagles black top. That's what you promised me.
Yinka, the next time you see me with the jersey.
Fantastic.
Don't worry about it. That's a promise.
Fantastic.
That's a promise.
Good.
But because
now I can donate to your season tickets.
Now I can donate because I'll be going there to do work for us, for both of us. You know. No, but I was just thinking about it, you know, and I obviously everyone is somebody's child, and you know, every parent is somebody's, you know, some child's parents or whatever, right? Yeah. But this one feels a little different because it's not every day that you know the parents of someone playing like really, really, really high level athletics. So when I watch Kiki play, when I watch her play, you know, I'm filled with incredible pride, even though I've never met her. I don't know her. And we haven't seen her mom since like the 90s. So it's not, you know, it's not like we see them all the time or we know them. But I can't divorce myself from that feeling that, you know, this is something special because I know what it means, you know, to accomplish something like this. And I'm just so incredibly happy for them, so incredibly proud. I will go to games. I will try to go to the very first home game. The good thing is there's not that many games in the WNBA. So, you know, I should be able to go to a few. So I can't wait. I'm so excited. I hope she comes out and because when you look at her career, you know, and I was looking at this last week, I'm like, okay, as a freshman, she didn't play much because I've been talking to you about her since she was a senior in high school.
Since forever.
You know, when I first saw, and then I'm like, man, she's not playing at Stanford. What's happening? You know, so she didn't play much, you know, but Stanford is a really tough program, right? And then second year, she played a little bit more. And then her third year was a breakout year, right? Breakout year. She was just, for me, probably the best, you know, power forward in college basketball that year. Some people will say Reese. Okay, maybe it was Reese, but you know, for me, her offensive game is just so much more refined than Reese's. You know, and just anyway, and then graduating, you know, engineering, Stanford 3 years while flying all over the country, beasting. I know that's not easy to do. And then she goes to USC to team up with Juju, you know, Juju Watkins. And unfortunately, Juju does her ACL before the tournament. And then Kiki didn't have, you know, the best game when they were eliminated by, was it UConn? Yeah, it was UConn that eliminated them, I think.
It was UConn,
UConn. She didn't have her best game, but you know, I can't wait to see her at the next level. Yinka?
No, you captured it perfectly. The same feeling that you have, It's exactly what I have. There's that fatherly pride, even though, like you said, we've probably haven't, we've not seen the mom since I've not seen the mom since secondary school anyway.
Me either.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. She's top of probably the best power forward in even last, like you said, Reese said. Even when she played with Brink and Stamford, it was obvious that she was a better offensive player than Cameron Brink. It was just that Cameron Brink was, taller and, was good defensively. So I'm happy for her. I envy you because if I were to be in Washington like you, I will also want to go to a game. No, I will be going to the games. I will be going to the games. I will be going to the games.
Oh my gosh!
But the draft in general, Akin, no surprises. Nobody did anything stupid. Paige Buchers went one. I thought Kiki probably should have gone higher, but the team that drafted her drafted 3 and 4, so she could have been third or fourth. So they knew. I think they just she could have been third.
It's
actually. Okay. And the number 2 pick is one tall, lengthy girl from France that nobody has seen play. But she has major upside. She can dunk easily. Have you seen that girl? She can dunk easily. Easily.
I saw. Easily. She's scary. 19 years old, something like that.
19.
Yeah, I think she's 19.
Yeah, she's 19.
Scary.
19.
Yeah. I mean, if youth is what we're looking for, Kiki is still only 21. I'm just saying. But go on.
But yeah, I'm happy for her. I'm happy for
her. Yeah, me too. Yinka, let's wrap with a very, very, very quick NBA update. The playoffs have started. My summary is my Knicks won last night. Your Lakers lost yesterday. What do you have to say for yourself? You guys got blown out.
Akin, that's why it's 7 games. It's not 1 game. But jokes apart, I'm worried. I'm worried for the Lakers, right? Not because they lost the way they lost. It's what I saw. I only watched the first half. I just shut down. I went to sleep because I was like, "There's no way they're coming back from this." Right? The Wolves, the Timberwolves wanted him more, right? And they were physical and they went after the Lakers. And the refs, because this is playoffs, the refs swallowed the whistle all through. All the typical need in the small calls that you get, nobody was getting that. Yeah. And within the second quarter, the Wolves, blew the game open. And what I said, I knew nothing was going to happen. LeBron looked lethargic. It didn't look like himself. I'm like, it looks like a 40-year-old. That's what it is. Yeah.
Especially only on defense.
On defense, only Luka came to play. Yeah. And the Lakers have now come out to say, we'll see a different us in the second game. Like, no, we won't.
No, you won't.
No, we won't. So I see. I never thought Lakers could do anything this year, right? Until you fix the major issues we have with the roster. You need a proper center. Jackson Hayes ain't gonna do you any good.
Interior defense, interior defense.
And you need to do something about Bron, right? Commercially, he's worth that contract, but on the court, Aki, he's no longer worth that contract. I'm sorry. So you need to decide. I'm being honest, right? Commercially, he's been underpaid, right? But from output, yeah, he says he's gonna get a pay cut, and the Lakers can do something with the.
He wants.
That's what we hear.
He's lying.
Okay, so fingers crossed for that. Shannon Sharp keeps saying Lakers in 5. I think it's going to change that on Tuesday, on Monday or tomorrow. Monday rather on first take. It's going to change it to Wolves in 5 at this point. I think I'm worried for the Lakers. I'm very worried for them.
Okay, so a couple things. So I was. Let me go to the Knicks first. I was concerned about this matchup with the Detroit Pistons, who I think this is their first time in the playoffs since 2019. Definitely
time.
first time. Yeah, six seasons. Definitely the first time we caved as the superstar in the making, as we talked about. I have a personal bias because I do not like cats. We talked about this to last week. I don't like him. He made a great pass last night, and I was like, oh, I don't like this guy, but that was a great pass. But I think when he gets physical, he's gonna be found wanting. And the fact that the Knicks needed a 21-0 fourth quarter
in the fourth quarter. I saw that.
Yeah, exchanging baskets with a bunch of guys who have no muscle memory. If the Pistons can come out and just not be afraid, not think about we've never done this before, we've never been here before. I think the Knicks could get nervous because when I think about it took like Payne hitting some crazy shots for the Knicks to win. You can't. Payne is going to show up maybe one more time in the next 6 games.
And even if he shows up again, what's the guarantee he will do it again? Because Payne's shot is so awkward. When he was shooting those balls yesterday, I was like, "What's this guy? His shot is somehow
is a southpaw, the way it contorts his body when he takes the shot, and he can't run a team. He can't run an offense. So you can only put him in spurts, right? Defensively is a liability because of his size and his game, and you don't want him running points. So that's my take on the Knicks. I think ultimately we still win.
What we're saying is both series are still up in the air. It's not as guaranteed as the Thunder Grizzlies that lost by 50. I think that's true. Sweep at this point.
That's true, Yinka. But honestly, I think the Knicks beat Detroit, but I think every game may be tight. What I'm worried about is our coach, Tibbs. I don't trust him. I don't trust Cat. You guys have a problem because I was asking my my thread, like in our game, I said, who is the best player in this series? Not who is playing the best last night. Who is the best player in this series? And they said it was Brunson, right? Someone said it was Brunson. It's like it was Brunson. Now it's why are you asking? And I'm like, okay, I like that answer. That's a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Cade is a superstar in the making. If Cade ends up being the best player in the series, the Knicks are in trouble. Then when the Lakers game started, I asked the same question.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the best player in this series? Is it Ant? Is it LeBron? Or is it Luka? Because Ant believed they said it's not LeBron. They said
definitely not LeBron.
I know. They said Luka is the best scorer, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But on defense, does Luka show up? Now his playmaking may make up for his lack of defense. Right?
But you can hide Luka on defense.
But you can't hide
which is what the Lakers
2 out of 5.
No.
You can't hide.
Which is what the Lakers did. But now here's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday, Lakers didn't lose because of Luka, and Wolves didn't win because of Ant.
I know.
Lakers lost because the supporting cast for the Wolves wanted him more. Those guys were like, they were after. Bron thought somebody needs to tell him he can't coast through this. If that's what he was thinking, that this is those guys came smelling blood, and even after the game, you could see it in their eyes that the disrespect, right, that the whole NBA community is giving us, and they're giving this series to the Lakers as if we didn't make the conference finals last year, right?
Yeah, no, that's real.
The disrespect is so bad, and they're like, you gave it to Lakers, okay, give it to Lakers then. So if Bron and the rest of the cast don't show up, they're gonna be touched again next game. Touched.
Oof.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't
Any other series you want to talk about? You started talking about the Grizzlies series. Do you want to talk some more about that? Or?
That's gonna be a sweep, or worst case, a gentleman's sweep. Come on now. Okay. You lost by 50. I know it's the playoffs. I know it's just still 1-0. There's no goal difference, right? But you can't lose by 51 in a playoff game.
You can't do that. No,
51.
Nah.
I didn't even know. So my son, my eldest, is a Grizzlies fan. I don't know how the hell he loves Ja Morant. So he was like, Dad, give me NBA pass. I'm like, what do you want to say? I want to watch Thunder's Grizzlies. Halfway through the game, I just saw the guy walk past. I was like, you're not watching the game. Don't worry. I said, what happened now? He said, we're down by almost 50. I'm like, what? 50?
It's crazy. Now, the Bucks lost to the Pacers again. What's his name? Dame may come back in game 2, but more likely game 3.
Game 3. Yeah.
I think they need him. Unfortunately, he doesn't play defense, so that's still going to be a problem. So that it will be interesting to see how that goes.
Saki is the same thing.
Yeah.
In playoffs. Yeah. In the playoffs, right? Even if you have superstars and the rest of the supporting cast are not ready, there's a limit to where your superstars can get you to, right? Look at the Pacers.
That's real.
Who's a superstar there? They don't really have that. They don't really have a superstar. Yeah. But with the way they collectively played, Hobie Toppins, or what's his name, that Nigerian boy, and Miles Turner, and this is what it's about. Playoff basketball is mano a mano. This is not, I'm playing you for the next 4 games at the minimum.
Yeah, no, right? That's true. No, you're not playing anybody else, You're
not playing anybody else. So you need to bring your A game. They can focus on you, focus on your weaknesses, and they can beat you. Anything can, that's the thing about playoffs. So fingers crossed. I'm worried about my Lakers, though. I'll tell you openly. I'm worried about Lakers.
I'm not worried about your Lakers because I don't care about your Lakers. So
who needs friends? Who needs enemies when I have friends like you?
Right. There you go. Yinka, we're done.
Let's wrap this up.
We are done. So
yes, we are.
I'll just take us out if that's okay. In the interest of time.
That's fine. All
right. Thank you, Yinka. Thank you, everyone. Subscribe, like, share across all our platforms. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And we're getting there. Slow and steady. Let's go a little faster. And we will be back next week. By the time we're back, would the first legs have been played? No. First legs would not have been played. No. So the week after.
It's up a week.
Yeah, we would do a little more NBA next week. And that's it for now. Thank you, everyone. Yinka, you want to say bye?
Bye-bye, people. Have fun. Have a lovely week. See you next week.
Yeah, bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Ciao.